Good afternoon, my fellow gardeners. This is South Carolina Transplant, also known as Martin, coming to you live from Zone 8A, the Piedmont of South Carolina. Where have I been? I spoke to some of you guys and some of your comments on some of your videos to let you know that your man was down for a minute. I hinted back during last season that I had some foot problems with my right foot, and I laid down and went under the knife and had surgery done. Let me tell you something. This experience, and it's still ongoing, I'm like 85% of the way there. It is very painful. So I got to give it to all you ladies out there who wear the heels and you go through what you do to make yourself look pretty, man. I can totally relate. I was actually planning on making this video a few weeks ago, but with a lot of people on the East Coast, probably throughout the entire country, right? Because these storms that we've been having, they've been traversing from, the upper Midwest to the South. Man, we had an ice storm. We've had a snowstorm. I can't even believe that we are in the South. It feels like upstate New York, where we moved from. So there is not a lot going on with today's agenda. I'm just going to kind of ease myself back into gardening. I have some small projects I want to do, and then I'm going to gradually increase my efforts over time. Something I've always wanted to do is try to structure and tidy up my gardens. In the past, I would put a plant in a bare spot here and a bare spot there. But when plants start to develop and grow, I didn't realize how wide they would get. I have some plants that are growing into other plants. For example, on our side berm that separates us from our neighbors, I have some plants that are like off center and then some plants that are growing into each other. So I want to kind of clean some of those things up. So without further ado, let's get to it. So here's an example of what I was referring to. This Shasta daisy is growing into this lavender plant. And there was a time when both of these plants were small. The lavender was in a quart-sized container, and the Shasta daisy I grew a few years ago. This might be its fourth season, but I grew it from seed and it was a little thing. And when I planted them, they were happy. I had the English garden kind of look going here, but now they're taking and they're starting to spread themselves out. So we want to get them separated. I don't have another spot that I can think of offhand that I want to put them in. So I'm going to put them in the back of this lineup. There's a bare spot back there. It's not within view of like the road or the front here, but I just want to get this situation remedied out and get him out the way. Also, you can see my lavender, the plants were upright and nice and firm, but during the ice storm, they kind of split open. So I'll have to remedy that at a later time. But for right now, this is my priority. I just want to get the mulch out of the way. It's kind of amazing. It's been very dry here, in a lot of parts of the country it's been very dry, but the soil is not in that bad a shape. I guess with the melting snow and ice, it's got some good amount of moisture here. So I'm pretty curious, how's everybody been? What have you been up to? And also I want to thank everyone for still posting videos over the winter time. I enjoyed them. I wasn't able to comment on every single one, but they did help me during my recuperation, so I appreciate that. So I think this is in view. I have a drip line going right through here. So I was being very gentle and delicate, just digging around it and not poking a hole in this drip tube. Speaking of drip tubes, I'm gonna actually do the drip in this area over again. Rodents and other animals have been chewing on these sprinkler emitters and breaking them open. I guess they're looking for water. So what I'm gonna do is just redo this configuration with 1/2-inch emitter tube throughout the entire garden, eliminating these things. Now I think the rodents still might bite on the 1/2-inch tubing, but I think they'll give me some added protection versus having these where they're biting them open and breaking them and all that stuff. All right, here we go. And as you can see here, this is not the most optimal space for this because it's near a tree here, but this is the west side of our house, so it gets a lot of sunlight. We'll get reflective light from our neighbor's house next door and then our house behind you. So gonna move the mulch out the way. Just make it easy on myself here. We have all these tree roots down here as well, so thank goodness it's a drought resistant plant, because these tree fibrous roots are gonna gobble up all the water and all the nutrients from this plant. So as expected, we got a nice big one here. See if we can just seat him right in here. Oh yeah, I didn't think it would be deep enough. That's actually too deep. Works for me. So I kind of neglected this side berm over the last few seasons as far as mulch is concerned. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and give it a nice thick layer this spring. That'll help with soil moisture and give it a nice, fresh, crisp look. So there's a few more plants, maybe one or two that are, you know, they're either too close to another plant or not in the lineup the way I want them. So I'm gonna move those and then we're just gonna take it from there. So I don't know if this is coming across on the camera, but this salvia here is kind of more towards this lower petalum. I wanna move the salvia in the center between these two plants. I know it's like me just like being very anal, but when the things are growing in, it kind of looks off-putting, you know, during the growing season. So I just kind of want to remedy that up. And I'm literally talking a matter of inches, like from there to here. And I'm gonna really appreciate this during the growing season. So it's good to be proactive and get ahead of things like this. And also, I never liked how shallow I had planted it originally. So I'm fixing that as well. And again, that mulch is gonna really make this garden pop. This sideburn here. All right. I have one or two more that I want to look at. We'll look that way. I don't know if this is in the shot, but this is an example of what I'm talking about. An animal's come by and chewed the top off of these. Sometimes these are just ripped off of the distribution line. So like I said, we're going to remedy that by just putting one long 1/2-inch distribution tube through the entire garden. So. All right, so we have what I believe is a salvia. It's up under this guy. So we're gonna move it from there to here. See, this is what I mean. I was so happy to get some of my winter sown plants started and I was being very ambitious, but now it's time to get everything uniform. It's a little deep, but that's fine. All right. Looks a little too far to the left. Bring it over some. All right. And it's funny, there was a time when I was in my early stages of gardening, I would have taken this and thought it was dead. Would have removed it because, you know, I just didn't know any better during the off season, you know, what dormancy actually even looks like. So this is last season's purple fountain grass. So I'm gonna remove him and then I'm gonna take that. I don't remember what that is. There's a tag here. Oh, that was a moonflower. You know, I'm gonna leave the moonflower there because I like them. And my neighbor actually donated the original moonflower seed that I grew that from. Let me tell you something, they spread like crazy. I don't want to say they're invasive, but man, they drop seed everywhere. So from the way they grow, they look like they need to be staked, and I may just have it in the wrong location. I'm gonna leave it there because eventually I'm going to plant something else in this area. So I'm just going to leave that alone. I'm actually going to leave this alone until I'm ready to plant something in its place. So let's see what else we got. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to move this, I believe that's a salvia also. I'm going to move him out away from the lavender just to give it some growing room. Sheet mulch. And we got some runners from the Bermuda grass, which is a constant battle. Wish I had thought about the level of gardening I was going to go to when this house was being built. I would have made sure that I designated some spots for gardening, but it is what it is now. This moment right here is why I'm glad I got these serrated edges on this tool here. I'm just gonna slide them over just a couple of inches. Oh, sun's coming out. You know, it's a funny thing today. You know, they actually forecasted it was gonna rain today. And the sun was out earlier, and I was like, oh my goodness, it's warm. So let me put on my shorts for this video. And then when I came out, there was cloud cover and it felt cooler. So now that the sun's popping out again, we're in the southeast, and starting to feel the intensity of the sun as it starts to break through the clouds again. So I have to negotiate how close I want this plant to be to this edge here, because our landscapers come through, you know, with the edger. And that's probably another reason it was that much, you know, further in. So here we go. And I know the weed seed that are gathering here probably ready to explode now that I've disturbed all of this nice moist soil. But I've been using Preen weed preventer, you know, in the spreader, and it's worked out pretty good. You have some really aggressive ones every now and then that, you know, rear their ugly heads, but for the most part it's been very effective. So this is where we began this episode. I'm just going to backfill this hole. Okay, so I still got a piece of Shasta daisy in there. I want that. Plant him somewhere else. I'm not going to go too crazy with backfilling. Let Mother Nature do her thing. Okay, let me find a spot for this guy. Plop him right. What is this? I don't know what that is. I don't want to end up doing the same thing. Let's scooch him over here. So I've been in good hands with my foot, folks. My doctor, she's a young lady. She does a lot of, I don't want anyone thinking in any way that I'm saying I'm an athlete, but she treats professional athletes as well as us lay folk, and I'm in good hands. And I just want to give her a shout out because she says she watches my videos. She's a young woman and just getting into gardening. So I just want to say thanks, Doc, for the white glove treatment you've been giving me. So that's it, folks. As I stated, I'm going to gradually work my way back into the garden. Don't want to overdo it and end up back where I was a few months ago. Lord, I don't want to go through that again. I appreciate you taking a few moments and hanging out with me while I start my 2026 garden regimen. I have a few more projects to do. Winter sowing. I'm going to start my winter sowing. That probably will be my next video. I also want to clean up the front garden. There's a project I want to do. I'll let you guys in on it when I get ready to do it. I got to engage some help. Our son came down. He came down to help his dad through this recovery period. So he's in the house. I'm going to get him out here in the garden and help me with that part of the project. So you'll probably see him premiering on one of the videos. If you haven't done so already, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. That motivates me to put out more and more videos, and I appreciate the engagement with you all. Ladies and gentlemen, this is South Carolina Transplant, also known as Martin, coming to you live from Zone 8A, the Piedmont of South Carolina. Until the next one, friends.